Before you build that website, check out this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. Pull out your hose and grab your can. We're about to integrate another Pest Geek Podcast. Hi, everybody. Frank Hernandez here, and welcome to the Pest Geek Podcast, bringing you the latest news, products, and politics from today's leading industry pros, offering you their technical marketing and growth strategies to give you, the pest management professional, that killer edge. Hey there, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Pest Geek Podcast. Hey, have you been considering building a website for your pest control business? Well, in the next couple of podcasts, we're going to be doing an entire series of internet marketing, web design, web development, and how to position your business on the first page of Google for this new marketing media known as internet marketing. I'm going to be discussing websites, SEO, local SEO, online business, and just pretty much everything that is involved in running and operating and being an internet marketer. And one of the things that we as pest control people have to get used to the fact that we are marketers. We don't do pest control. We sell and market solutions for people's lives to help them live better. We're marketers. And unless you market your business, unless you promote your business, unless you sell your services, nobody is really going to do that for you. So let's look at, you're looking at this whole concept of web design and web marketing. And just to give you a little bit of background of my expertise in this, I've been building websites since about 1987. And I've built probably a dozen websites since then. And I've built my own website for my current business. I built the website for the Pest Geek Podcast. I do all the marketing and design and SEO for all of these platforms that I'm on. I've developed websites on what used to be known as Microsoft Front Page. I've worked with Adobe Dreamweaver in the past, which I don't think anybody works with that anymore. We've built websites using the free design options from oneandone.com and GoDaddy. I've even published a website just using Microsoft Publisher. So designing the website and building the website, which is what everybody seems to be obsessed about, is really the easy part. I mean, that's really easy when it comes to a lot of the things that we have to do as internet marketers. The website design is really the easy part. And I wanted to talk to you about some basics about website design, having good structure, having good platform to work on, and then get into what you really, really need to know to get your business on that first page of Google, because really that's where your goal is as a marketer. Now, let's look at what you really need to build a website. The first question you got to ask yourself is, do I really need a website? And I think that's a fair question. A lot of people ask themselves that, do I need a website? I think everyone needs a website, and I'll tell you why. Let's go down this list. Building a website, some people think, well, it's just complicated and expensive. And yes, it can be. It all depends on what you're going for. I mean, there's a market for everything in this world. I mean, you can go and buy a $12,000 brand new car, and you can spend $1 million on a brand new car. It all depends on how many bells and whistles you want on it. So depending on what your business is like, and what your business model is like, then it's going to be depending on whether it's going to be complicated or expensive. It can be neither. Will I build this website myself, or will I hire a developer? Well, that's going to depend on your level of expertise. It's going to also depend on your level of what you're willing to learn, and how much time can you invest in building your own website, because it will take time. And in your biggest expense, and I'll just let the cat out of the bag now, your biggest expense in website and building your website is not the website. It is the marketing of that website and doing what is known as SEO that's going to be your major expense. So could you hire a developer? Yes, you could hire a developer to do the backbone, to do the initial design. But then you can take over that site afterwards. And I'm going to show you a platform that I love to be able to do that you can hire somebody to build the site, and then you can go in and kind of develop that site as far as the graphics and the text that goes into it and all the information you want in. And I really would consider that you would do that part, because you know your business better than anybody. And you know what you can write. And if you say, well, maybe I'm not a creative writer. I don't know how to write. I don't know anything about editing images. There are tools out there right now to help you do all that. But if you want somebody to totally handle it, you better be prepared to create a budget and stick to a budget and know exactly what you're getting into beforehand, before you do this. Because here's what will happen. Here's my experience in dealing with web companies and web development companies, and especially ones that are not in my local city. I would rather you work with somebody in your local city, somebody that you can have an immediate contact with, because people are going to offer you to build your website either very cheaply or for nothing, or they're going to offer to do it at some type of price that you feel comfortable with. And you're thinking, well, I have my website, and after that, the phone calls are just going to be pouring in. And that is not the case. What you're going to end up with is somebody's going to build you a site, and then they're going to come and say, well, now we need to start you buying our SEO package, our local SEO package. We need to get you on the first page of Google. And that's why I want to start out with that, because really we got to start with the end in mind. And then you're going to say, well, you're going to need to spend between $750 to $3,000 a month for us to do your SEO work, because that's where the money is made in this business. And it's made really because it is a lot of hard work. I mean, there's no such thing as easy money. And it is a lot of hard work. And these people who do this and do it well, just like us who do our job well, deserve to get paid well. And so you need to know that up front. Now, to answer the question, the first thing I did was, do you need a website? A website today is the dynamic equivalent of having a business card. Everybody and their grandmother asks you for a business card when they first meet you to keep in their wallet. I don't know what people do with 1 million business cards. They must be throwing them away, because there's no way you can keep all those business cards. But everywhere you go, well, they're not interested in your service. They'll ask you for a business card. And what you need to understand is that things have fundamentally changed in the way products and services are marketed today to people. If you have a website, most people have a website and they have it as a glorified business card or brochure. Meaning it's there. If somebody had your address, www.mypestcontrolcompany.com, they would be able to find it. So if you hand somebody your business card and your website is on there, it says, oh, check out our website. We got a really cool website. They might go to it. But the problem is that you have to be able to drive business, which in the atmosphere that web finds itself in, which is on the internet. And the way you do that is through the search engines. Getting people the right information, serving up the right information is the search engine's job to getting people what they're looking for. And you need to be able to optimize your website. If not, it's just sitting there literally like a virtual paperweight doing nothing. Unless people have your direct address, they're not going to find you. And online isn't like brick and mortar. It's similar in some ways, but it's radically different in others, is that in a brick and mortar store, the only way people can buy your product is if they go physically to your store and get it. In the virtual world, they have to actively look for it. And there's a big difference. Here's what's happened fundamentally. It has changed from an advertiser seller environment to a buyer environment, where it used to be that the salesman controlled the information that was given to the person. Today, the person buying often sometimes has more information about your product than you do. When I think of a website, I think of a developer, a land developer, who wants to put a shopping mall in a specific area. And what he's thinking about is location, location, location. How do people get here? And how do I get them in the door to buy? And my question online is, how do I get people to my website the most efficiently way possible, the most cost-effective way possible to get them to buy? Your website, at a minimum, should be a lead-generating tool, not an information tool. It is not out there so that people can go and read everything about your company and say how nice. It is out there so that people will find it, go to it, and say, this is the company I want to do business with. Where is that form to fill out? Where is that phone number? Where do I hit buy now to get that product? Because that's what I'm looking for. You see, at best, then it should be a sales pipeline producing and an automating of new customer acquisitions. That's what you should be going for if you have a website. It isn't just to provide information. It has to be an active tool to generate more customers and acquire more customers. Here's what's happened in the past. We've all done it. We've made out business cards. The first thing we do when we go into business, we make business cards. And we go out handing thousands of business cards. We hand out tens of thousands of flyers. We place ads in local papers. We might be able to afford to place an ad in the phone book. If you can buy bench advertising and billboards, you do it. If you can afford radio and television, you go for it. And then you wait for the phone to ring, hoping and praying that someone would see your ad. Sometimes you get the calls, and sometimes you don't. Those are the breaks. Here's what happens in the new media. In the new media, your customer is out there looking for that product, looking for that service. They're actively going online and looking. And what they're hoping is they're going to find exactly what they have in mind. And that is a tall order to try to read someone's mind. But with the internet, this has been made very simply. And here is fundamentally what you have to make a shift in mindset from becoming a traditional marketer to an online marketer. And here's why. Right now, there's three types of businesses. Number one, businesses that have websites, businesses that don't have websites yet, and businesses that will never have a website. The first people are those early adopters that just anything new goes out there, they're going to try it, they're going to go for it. You know, they're the first ones on Facebook, they're the first ones on Twitter, they're the first ones on Pinterest, those kind of people. Chances are, if you're listening to me, you are probably already in this arena. Then those who are the majority who are listening to me probably don't have a website. And you need to get one. You need to be in that competitive marketplace where people are going to be able to find you. And then there's those people who are never going to have a website. Those are the same kind of people that only have a cell phone. They don't have a smartphone. They just have a regular cell phone. And the reason they have it is because nobody will make a rotary phone that they can take with them. They're never going to do any of this. They say, I don't need it. I've been in business 65 years. I'm getting ready to retire. And quite frankly, I only have one route. And I don't care to grow my business. I just really want to sell out. And, you know, they're planning their exit strategy right now. But if you're planning to be around for the next 20, 30, 40 years, then you need to start thinking of online marketing and start taking that very seriously. Because that is where, I mean, when was the last time that you opened up a phone book to look for a local business. I can't remember the last time I even saw a phone book. So what you have to start doing is saying, okay, if I'm going to get into this, then how do I get into this? And how do I manage it? How do I do it and have success? And I'm going to show you why building your website is not the biggest thing that you have to worry about. Building a website is no longer a novelty. It is part of doing business in this new media world. Let's talk about design. When most people think about building a website, they immediately start thinking, oh, what about this colors? And what about this logo? And what about this layout and this image? And that's what they worry about, the design. How good is it going to look? How pretty is it going to look? And what happens is that this is actually the least of your worries, because a lot of this stuff is very easily acquired. If you're using a platform where you can change the colors of the layout, you can buy images very inexpensively these days. Just go on, iPhoto.com and you can find millions of images. One of the things that you need to consider very carefully, though, is your text, your copywriting. Writing good copy is one of the most important things that you're going to have to consider in your website. How you write it, what you say, what keywords you use. And this is the last thing people consider, because most people aren't writers. Most people they're visual. And they're looking at all this cool stuff, but they're not looking at the backbone of it. And you need to know the backbone and not so be impressed with muscle. You think of your website as just needing 5 pages. Well, we just need a home page, an about page, our service page, a contact page, and maybe another extra page for something else. And you're thinking, that's it. That's all I need is a 5-page website. You'll see advertisements everywhere for people saying, we will build you a 5-web-page site for $500. We'll build a 5-page website for $1,000. Because this is what they're selling, what people think they want. Okay. Then you see the commercials online or on the web or on television for companies like Wix and GoDaddy, where you can go and build a website with no experience, and you can have a website up in an hour or two that's going to bring in all this business to you. It's marketing. Understand that you're being sold something that you think is easy, because people want easy. People want things simplified. And building a website is simple, but really it's not easy. And I'm going to show you that you can build a website in a couple of hours. And then what? You see? So what does it cost to build a website? Well, let's say you start with a domain and you pick your name of your company, abcpestcontrol.com. That's going to cost you $10 anywhere you go online to get a domain for a year, and you'll pay that annually, and you'll pay $10 for a .com. Okay? And then you say, well, images, we need pictures. Well, you can go to iStock Photo and you can buy pictures for $2 that are very nice looking pictures. And you need 5 pictures for websites, you're going to spend $2 a page, you're going to spend $10. And then they have a subscription for hosting your website for $6 a month. So with $26, 2 to 4 hours, you can have a website up. You can have a pretty nice, pretty decent looking website. I'm not saying you can't. But I want you to think back when you started your pest control business, what most people thought was opening a pest control business, and most people knew was opening a pest control business. Well, you say, I went and got my license. I got an Inc. or I got an LLC. I got my truck, got some business cards, got some signs. I bought some pesticides. I got my can. I'm in business. I have a pest control business. No, not really. What you have are assets and liabilities. You don't have a pest control business. You don't have a pest control business until you have customers, until you have net worth. Then you have a business that you can sell or that produces money that pays the bills. It's the same with the website. Having a website is like having a business card in your pocket. You have it. But until it's in the hands of the right person, it doesn't produce anything. So let's look at what it takes to get your business on the first page of Google, and why this is so important, and why you hear people all the time say, "Well, we got to get our business on the first page of Google." You need to understand that you're now an internet marketer, and that you are going to do what is known as SEO, search engine optimization. And what I want you to focus on is local. You need to be on the first page of Google locally. I'll tell you why. The reason that you need to focus on local is, unless you have a couple $1 million to spend on internet marketing, you're not going to get your business on the first page of Google everywhere. And nor do you care. And the reason you don't care is you're a local business. You're not doing business. If you're in Houston, Texas, and you're not doing business in New York, you don't care to be on the first page of Google in New York. You only care to be on the first page of Google in your market. And the smaller your market is, the more you can niche it, the more success you will have, because the least amount of effort and the least amount of time and the least amount of money you have to spend to get there. There's two types of SEO. There's on-site SEO, or search engine optimization on-site, which is the search engine optimization you do to your website. To be found on Google, to be found on Bing, to be found on Yahoo, in order for them to be able to say, when somebody is in your local market, think about what you do when you go into Google and you type in something that you're looking for. You type in pest control in Houston, Texas. And we're going to use Houston, Texas as an example. They're a large market, very, very competitive marketplace. And I think you can still be number one in that market. So let's say you're in a suburb of Houston and you're only doing business within that suburb or within a couple of miles out there. You can be the number one person in that suburb on the first page of Google, because that's what you focused on. So you need to focus on your website being strategically focused as if it were a store in that town, and you're drawing in business from 5 to 20 miles away. Position yourself. You have a physical address for your business, whether you operated in a brick and mortar place or you operated from home. You're still in a physical place. And your goal is to make business from within 20 to 30 miles from there, whatever that is, whatever your demographic is. And you have to know your demographics in order to be successful online. All right. So now you're going to optimize your website to be competitive in Houston. So if the number one keyword, and we're going to show you how to do that, is pest control Houston, then you want to use that as your site's keyword, pest control Houston. So when that people are putting in what they're looking for, you will show up for what they are looking for. The job of the search engine is not to tell you what to do. The job of the search engine is to say, this person is putting something in there, and our job is to provide them exactly as close as possible to what they're searching for, the best result. That's the job of the search engine. So you need to write for two people. You're writing your copy, you're writing your website information for the search engine, but you're also writing it for people who read. Search engines read code. People read letters. And you need to do it for both. Because you're going to get a sales pitch that says, well, if you don't optimize your size correctly and exactly and perfectly, Google is going to penalize you. Google is not in the business of penalizing people. Here's what Google has done, and this is where this has arisen from. I remember back when we used to go on, the only search engine there was like Alta Vista. And we would go on Alta Vista and we would do a search for something. And I'd be searching for, work pants with pockets. And all of a sudden I click and work pants with pockets. And you click that website and pop comes a porn site. And you're saying, but that's not what I was searching for. What does, pants with pockets have to do with a porn site? Well, what they did is they stuffed that website with all kinds of keywords so that no matter what you were searching for, the algorithm searches were different. And based on what the people put in there, and then it didn't matter what was served up, that's not what you wanted. Well, Google figured out there's a better way to do it, and that's what they did. And all of a sudden, all those people that were spammers out there got slapped. They basically, their websites went down. They weren't be able to find them anymore because they weren't doing the right thing. If you are a pest control company and you start writing about cooking, Google is going to say, what does cooking and pest control have to do unless it's related to preventing pests or preventing disease? In other words, you don't want to start publishing recipes on your website because Google says this has nothing to do with you. And therefore, we're confused and we don't know what to serve up. You see? So that's how internet search to demystify it for you, because you will get pressure from people as well. If you don't do it right, look, we got our business on the first page of Google. We got our business on the first page of Google in 5 major pest categories. It doesn't matter whether you're looking for flies, whether you're looking for pest control for ants, whether you're looking for pest control for rodents, whether you're looking for pest control. It doesn't matter. It comes up on the first page of Google. This didn't happen overnight. It wasn't easy, but we got it there. And we did it Google's way. We did it the way that they said to do it. Okay? So the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to learn before you design that website, before you pick out a domain name, before you spend a dime, spend your time doing good research. And here's how you do it. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to go out and I want you to get a Gmail address. You go to Google, go to Gmail, Google search Gmail, and open an account with Gmail and get a Gmail address. This is going to be your key to putting everything together in Google, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Google Plus, Google Local, Google Analytics, Google Webmaster, all the free Google tools that Google has so that you can be found on Google. Google is given to you free. And you're going to get a Google Gmail address. Do that first, because that's what's going to be driven to get your Google Plus page and your Google Local account. So you can come up on the map when somebody does a Google search for pest control in Houston and you show up on the maps. Okay? That's going to tell Google, you're going to be able to tell Google, I am a local business. Here's my physical address. I exist. I'm real. I'm not just a company that's on the web somewhere around the world. I am actually here. And that's going to be your key to doing Google Local. Okay? Your number one job is to get your business on the first page of Google for that market. You're going to do then what is known as Google AdWords keyword research. It is a free tool that you can use to do keyword research for what people are actually typing into Google. And Google gives you that information for free. Every time you type something into that Google bar, Google keeps it. Google knows exactly the location where it was typed in from. If you are signed in with a Google Gmail, Google knows who you are and who put it in there. They keep absolutely every search, and it's cataloged. And therefore, when a search appears over and over and over again through their algorithm, then they say, well, that is a popular keyword that people are looking for in your particular market. And then you can write your content and you can build your website around what people are looking for. That is a marvelous concept, because we used to write marketing based on what we thought we wanted people to hear. And what Google is telling us is you need to write for what people are looking for in order for us to serve it up to them. And that's what you're looking at doing. Okay, so you're going to do your research first. We're going to do we're going to launch the Pest Geek podcast on YouTube, and we're going to be doing a couple of these examples to show you how to do this for yourself if you decide this is what you wanted to do. We're going to show you how to do all of this online for you to be able to do this yourself. It's not difficult, guys. You can do it. But you have to be, the number one thing that you're going to have to develop in this whole process is called patience. If you are patient, marketing, the number one rule of marketing is not money, it's patience. You have to do the right things and then give it time to work. It will work, but it's going to take time. Then you have to decide on which words are you going to use for your copy. If you're only designing a 5-page site, your copy has to be spot on. It has to be keyword rich for the words that you have chosen. It has to be strategic. It can't be, we'll write whatever because it sounds good. Can't do that. Not for online marketing. Okay? It needs to be consistent across your website. We're going to be talking about the importance of links on off-site marketing, off-site SEO. Everything that you do off-site, meaning everything that you do on Google+, everything that you do on Twitter, everything that you do on Facebook, everything that you do anywhere has to be focused on keyword and focused on your link back to your site. Here's the way Google measures whether your website is even worth reading. Google says that if you have links pointing back from other people besides yourself, pointing back to you, that means your site is important and people ought to read it and they'll serve it up more. If nobody is interested in your site, nobody has linked to it, Google says you're really not that interesting and we won't serve it up. That's the way it works. So you got to focus on online strategy and offline strategy. Get your strategy done first. Get the things that you want to accomplish first online. Then worry about design. Then worry about pictures. Then all that is secondary. All that has to be optimized anyway. Your pictures have to be optimized. Your site has to be optimized. Your text has to be optimized. Everything has to do with those keywords. All right? You got to be able to write good copy. At least 350 words per page. You can't just write a couple of lines. It has to be at least 350. If you're doing blog posts, between 350 and about 800 words is preferred. Every page has to be optimized. Every picture has to be optimized. The text has to be optimized. Once you've done that and once you've decided this is what we're doing, guys, this is what we're going after to get started. It doesn't have to be big, but it has to be quality. Okay? You did your keyword search. You know what words you're targeting. You know what services. You know you're performing ant services. You're performing roach services. You're performing rat services. You will write a page for each one of those services individually. Not just one page where everything is lumped together. You can have a general page linking to all those pages. So your 5-page website is never going to be a 5-page website. Our website, the site alone as far as pages goes, it's about 75 pages. Our blog, which is on that same website, is probably about another 70 pages in our blog. So it's a lot of work. But you do this, you create a schedule that you can work on, and you said, I'm going to put 2 hours a day into this, and I'm going to work on this specific thing every single day until this is accomplished. That's how you do it. It's called patience. And you work on it diligently. Okay? Now, the second thing, once you get all that done, you're going to have to do research on your competition. There are tools available to you. We're going to be discussing those tools throughout these. This is just a podcast to introduce you to this concept. But we're going to be showing you tools that you need to know who your competition is, what your competition is doing, so that you can do either the same thing or do it better to be there. Okay? So one of the easiest things to do is if you type in Pest Control Houston or pest control companies in Houston, then you're going to see what comes up on that first page, and that's your competition. Then there are tools available so you'll be able to see who's on there. What are they ranking? Because you'll be amazed you'll be surprised that all those companies are there, and then some of them are national companies, and they can't be everywhere. They can't be in every city. They can't be in every town. They can't be in every niche. They're just general. But since there's no other competition there, Google serves up the best that they can. You'd be surprised other companies have a website, but they're not optimized. And you can now say, if I optimize my page just a little bit, and I do this little thing and that little thing, I will just be on the first page of Google because there's really the competition that's there. It's not really doing a lot of things right. And you'd be surprised how many people are not doing it right. They're just there. So you start focusing on your local little area. You start focusing on the local. You know what they're doing. You start figuring out what their page rank is, how Google is ranking them. And you say, I can easily beat that out. And I did it. And I did it in a highly competitive market. Okay? So then then you can start working on building your website. Then you build your website. I'm going to talk to you in another podcast about a platform to build your website that I am absolutely in love with. It's called WordPress. And we're going to show you how WordPress is probably the best platform to build a website on, and for many reasons. So we're going to be talking. Then once you build your website, you want to register that website through Google Webmaster and tell Google, I own the site. This site exists. Here it is. Here, and then you're going to have to put in a code into that website and all that to tell Google that that site is yours and it exists, so that Google can then go and send its robots, crawl all over that website, get all the information that is in there, catalog it. So the next time somebody looks for something, Google says, I know where that is. You see? And there's a whole bunch of tactics and strategies that we can show you to get that website built up and get it registered. Okay, so I talked to you about on this program, and it's kind of an introductory program to this. I didn't want to go too heavy because I want to focus on strategy first, then tactics. If I started to give you just tactics, you're going to go out there and start implementing them, and then you don't understand how they work together. And the best way that I can explain this, guys, is the same thing as integrated pest management. The reason I can get this, and I get it, is because I understand working across platforms. I've worked on software before. I understand if I learn to use one platform, the other platform becomes much easier to learn. If I learn to use the most hard and difficult video editing program out there, which is probably Premiere from Adobe, then every other program that's out there that does video editing becomes very easy to me. Okay, it's just an advantage. A lot of my background in database management and a lot of things help me. So I'm breaking this down to you in an easy way that you can do it so that you can take it step by step, but take it step by step in the right way in tactics once you have your overall strategy. When you understand pest biology, it no longer becomes about, which chemical do I use and how much do I apply? Because you understand pest biology, you understand how to apply different products in a different way. The same with web design. The same way with online marketing. It's all has to do with you getting your strategy first and then implementing the tactics one by one. So with that said, what we're hoping to do is give you a step-by-step guide that we're going to be producing to help you with your online marketing so that you can be competitive in your local market. And remember, less is more in this, so you have to start narrowing things down. It is said by a famous writer, says, I couldn't write you a letter, so I wrote you a book. And the moral of the story is the more that you decide to simplify, the more you decide to make things easier and simpler and smaller, the harder the work becomes. Because when you have the whole world to choose from, it seems to be easy, but it's not really then an easy choice. It's a harder choice to try to narrow things down and focus in on just one specific area at a time. And what I want you to focus on is, first thing is getting your Google words, your Google research done first, your keyword research. Then after you do that, get your competition research. Then start writing your copy for your website, for the pages. In other words, you're going to write your page. This is the copy. What's 350 words? It's about a page long of reading. 3 pages, it's about 900. So if you want about 1,000 page, you get it down to 3 to 4 pages and you got 1,000 words. So it's not that much. It's not, but you have to be strategic about it. And that's the important thing. Then we're going to be talking about how to do on-site SEO first, and designing, getting all your SEO, getting your competitive research analysis done. And then we're going to focus on the second part, which is social media, getting your off-site SEO, getting your backlinks to your website. How do you do that? So it's going to be a step-by-step process, and it's probably going to be, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4 podcasts to get this message across, plus the videos that we're going to be doing to help you, plus the information that's going to be on our website. Just to give you an example, our website was designed, all of our websites are now designed in WordPress. The Pest Geek podcast was designed in WordPress. And I think we built that website for under $50. Okay. How long does it take to develop? That's different. Now, what can you expect? I'm going to tell you the truth about how long is this going to take. Well, it's going to depend on your market. Because if you're in a non-competitive market that's not highly competitive, you're in a small town somewhere in America, it's going to be a lot easier than if you're in New York City. Okay? So the amount of work that you're going to need to do is going to depend upon what your competition is. And we're going to show you how to evaluate competition, how to evaluate using one keyword over another keyword. And there are simple free tools. And I got all the tools that I use right now actually to build my website, and all the tools that I've used are all free. I haven't had to spend a penny. But I have to invest the time in knowing, and I had to invest the time in doing the research myself. How long will it take for you to build your website and get it to show up on the first page of Google for a couple of insects or maybe all of the ones that you're doing? Well, it's going to take, reality is it's going to take about 9 months to a year. It's not going to happen overnight. And the reason is because how much time can you invest in it? If you can invest 20 hours a week, I invested in my website initially about 20 to 30 hours. You said, when do you get any sleep? I said, well, I have a schedule, and I have everything on schedules, and I have everything organized. So I know what days I'm in the field. I know what days I'm in my territories. I know what days I take time to do this. When my kids go to sleep and everybody's in bed, guess what? I go to work. And I stay up till, I go start working about 9 o'clock, and I will be working till maybe 12, 1 in the morning. And then I get up the next day about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and I do what I have to do, and then I hit the road and I take care of my clients, and I have to work on efficiency. But you can do it. It can be done. And again, it's going to depend. Now, what do you got looking forward in expenses in the future? Well, most of the stuff you're going to be able to do yourself, you're going to be able to do for free. You're going to have to spend some money on some tools. But, if you spend maybe $100, $200 during the year, $300, you're going to be good. If you decide to hire somebody to do this, we're going to show you what you need to look for and what they're actually doing for you for that money. Because there's a lot of things people put in there that is nothing but fillers and fluff, like they do in processed food. The actual work, they're going to charge you anywhere between $5,000 to $3,000 a month to do this SEO work for you. Some of it is well worth it, other is not. You have to learn what you're going to do. So this is where at least we can give you all the information, even if you decide not to build your website. We can give you all the information for you to be able to do this, and then you can go in it and you have an intelligent conversation with a web developer or an SEO company. And at least you know your options and you're well educated. That's our goal. Okay. So with that said, I think we're gonna finish it here, and then we're gonna be talking a little bit more about tactics, strategies, software, what software to use, which software not to use in the coming podcast. And you'd be able to get on your way and even evaluate your own website and evaluate your own SEO work and evaluate the SEO work that somebody else is doing for you. and those things. So I hope that this has been helpful to you guys. And we're going to be talking about it until next time. And what I wanted to talk about a couple of other things now that we have going on with our website and with things that are going on the Pest Geek. Hey, if you're like me, you love to listen to audio, and I love to listen to audiobooks. I've been listening to audiobooks since I had a cassette tape in my car, and now I listen to audiobooks on my iPhone with Audible. Audible has more than 150,000 titles to choose from, and you can start your free book trial today for 30 days by going to audibletrial.com/pestgeek to get your free first listen. For more information about the Pest Geek Podcast, visit our webpage at pestgeekpodcast.com. You can get now our news feed from over 30 industry sources in one place on Twitter, at Pest Geek Podcast on Twitter. And now also you can go to our community page on Facebook at Pest Geek Podcast. You can like, share stuff, and comment what other PMPs are doing around the country. If you have questions or comments about the Pest Geek Podcast, you can call our question line at 707-397-7378. Our question and comment line is open 24/7, and you can leave a question or comment, including your name, your company name, and we can even use your question or comment on the air as part of the Pest Geek Podcast. If you're shy, you can always email us at franklin@pestgeekpodcast.com with your question and answer, and I will personally respond to you. Thank you for listening. Until next time, folks, have a great one. Thank you for listening to the Pest Geek Podcast. If you have enjoyed the Pest Geek Podcast, please give us a rating, write a review, or subscribe to the channel. You can join the Pest Geek Society by visiting pestgeekpodcast.com. Thank you for listening. See you next time.